Hello, everyone. It is me with the B code, and welcome back to my channel. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to my subscribers and those who watch my videos. Please do not hesitate to hit the like button and leave your comments in the comment section when I'm done. So, I decided to do this live because it's quicker, and I didn't feel like piecing a whole bunch of stuff together and editing and things of that nature. So I said, let me go ahead and do it live. So anyway, you see the title, Why You Drunk, right? So I was listening to The Saint and the Sinner. I've been listening to a lot of his videos, listening and watching to a lot of his videos because I find him to be very, very interesting, very educated, and um, he just really put an imprint on my brain with how he expresses himself and with his educational background and his accomplishments. So, anyway, first I wanted to address the video I did regarding him and Princella, the Queen Maker. So, I have not a lot, but a few people have come on to that video, and in the comment section, they've left their comments. So, the big question, the question or the comments on Princella's side is, basically, how can you say she lost? And then on the saint and the saint and the sinner side, they're like, oh, he won hands down. On Princella's side, they're saying, oh, how can you say she lost when she didn't even get to debate? First of all, if you watched my video and listened, see, remember, you have to put on your thinking your listening ears. That's what Just Judy says. Put on your listening ears. I explained myself and why I felt like that and my response to that, which was she was actually debating it and didn't even know it. She was debating it with her behavior. Because when you're asking the question of who's the prize, you have to think in terms of what is a prize. Something that is happy to receive, because a prize, remember, sometimes is you don't know what you're getting, right? So, say for example, you're at a raffle, and sometimes they show you what can be won, and then sometimes it's a surprise as far as what you're going to win or what you won. In this situation with Princella and Marquette, Princella was basically the scene prize, right? Who's the prize, men or women, right? Marquette is being seen as the prize for the male perspective, and Princella is being seen as the prize for the female perspective, because remember, these are two people that are representing their sex, right? So when I say she was debating and she didn't know it, she was debating with her behavior as well as Marquette was debating with his behavior. So, he Marquette is a very good debater. He's very strategic, and I think in the beginning of his debates, you have to get past basically a gauntlet, right? You have to go through a gauntlet with him in order to actually be able to discuss the topic, right? So, with Princella, she didn't realize that. Like I said, I've been watching his videos, and this is pretty much what he does. He sends you through a gauntlet to see if you're going to react. If you're going to react emotionally, if you're going to act professionally, however you're going to react. But if you let your emotions take control of you, you will not get to actually debate with your mouth the content, right? So with Princella not being able to catch on to that, she wasn't presenting herself as the prize, which she didn't know there was like a pre-debate, which was okay, let's check out your behavior. Because the prize, if you're thinking in terms of a say for example a Grammy, When you look at a Grammy, what is it? It's beautiful. It sits still, right? It doesn't move unless you move it. It's presented well. It's nice. It's gold. It's sparkly. Sometimes it's see-through, shaped in a pyramid or whatever have you. So since Princella was unpoised, she wasn't presenting herself as a prize, and he's basically saying, look, she's representing the women perspective, and according to her behavior, they aren't the prize. And if you look at me, Marquette, how poised I am, even though I'm throwing shots and giving compliments at the same time, look at how I'm presenting myself for the male perspective. I'm poised, I'm calm, I'm rational. And so basically he's saying men are the prize. Look at how I am. Anyway, that was just my gist on that. So anyway, coming back to Why You Drunk. So I was listening to another one of his lives, and it just so happens he was debating or interviewing, I would say, a manosphere woman, even though she denies being a part of the manosphere. But when all of your talking points are geared towards the manosphere, and then even how you present yourself, represents pretty much what the manosphere looks for in women, you're a manosphere. I don't care what comes out your mouth, you're a manosphere. So, anyway, there was a topic that Marquette addressed, and it was regarding women drinking. So he posed this question to her, and she answered it. But me personally, I didn't appreciate the way she answered it, because there are so many reasons why women drink, right? And so I'm here to give you my perspective and the truth, because if you went and polled at least 500 women, some of the things I'm going to present to you, they would exactly say, that is how I started drinking, or that is why I am drinking. It's just no one cut and dry reason that women drink. So anyway, I took the liberty of pulling it up. I'm not going to show it, because then my internet is going to start messing up, and I downloaded this new program on here, so it just really has my internet running funky, my computer running funky. So I'm going to just let you guys take a listen, and then I'll come back with my commentary.
About is in terms of females and alcoholism, because maybe a lot of men might not notice this because they're right there drinking with a girl, or they're trying their best to get the girl drunk so that they can take advantage. I'm noticing that a lot of women I'm encountering that men would consider a bad B, they have significant drinking problems. Whether it's the fact that because they're going out so frequently, they're drinking regularly, so they're drinking 4 out of 7 days out of the week, or drinking has become such a part of their sexual process that they even want to have a, like, even if you weren't partying, they want to have a few drinks before you even hit the sack. And I find that these kind of behaviors are detrimental over a lifetime. So, for example, if she were to become pregnant, you're like, dang, can you even stop drinking long enough to go through your 9-month term of pregnancy?
Okay, I want to address that. I want to address the woman that is pregnant and that is drinking because her doctor said, a half a glass of wine or a little bit of wine won't hurt, which it will. However, when you have a woman that has been drinking for a significant amount of time and she becomes pregnant, for her to immediately stop drinking, that is going to be bad for her health. Number one, because she's going to go through withdrawals, right? And while she's going through withdrawals, guess who else is going through withdrawals? Her baby, right? Because usually when women get pregnant, they really don't find out that they're pregnant if they're a heavy drinker until they're maybe 1 to 2 months along. At that time, the baby has already started to develop, and if they decide to keep it, the baby is already just as hooked on alcohol as they are. So, And then some women, even before they get to the doctor, they're still drinking. So for that woman to quit cold turkey, she's going to have withdrawal symptoms, which is not going to be good. And the baby that she is carrying is going to have withdrawal symptoms as well. So the doctor is basically saying, a little alcohol is better than no alcohol because of the right. It's cold turkey, Keyshawn. How you doing? It's going to be detrimental to you and the baby. And then here's the thing: if you don't allow the mother to at least have some wine, she's going to go full fledged. We tend to listen to our doctors. They're very educated. They are very experienced. They know how to deal with these types of situations. So you have to be careful, because if the woman is, the doctor is telling her, no, you can't have no alcohol at all, she's going to go drinking, and then she's not going to show back up to her doctor's appointments because of guilt and shame, and knowing that she didn't follow her doctor's instructions. So I just wanted to address that really quick, because yeah, it's easier said than done. All right, here we go.
I saw a woman who was a whole pregnant woman having a glass of wine, talking about, oh, the doctor said half a glass of wine won't hurt. And I'm like, shorty, I wouldn't be taking that chance with the next, 80 years of this child's existence. So,
and then if you look at the fact that a lot of pregnant women, the person that got them pregnant tends to not be around. So the woman is left to her own devices, basically her own self-support. There's nobody there supporting her, saying, push through it, here, drink some water, watching her, make sure that there's no alcohol in the house. And sometimes those type of women, you just might have to, handcuff to the bed, for them not to drink. You have to be with them like 24/7, saying no, no, telling her friends, don't give her alcohol, and I mean it, telling her family, don't give her alcohol, I mean it, don't let her drink, and if she drinks, let me know. Sometimes that control factor there from the man is not there. So therefore the pregnant woman, she's just allowed to do whatever it is she want to do. I know me, when I was pregnant with my first son, I was very, very young. But being that I wasn't an alcoholic, or I didn't drink at that time, or I drank, but it wasn't something that I couldn't just quit cold turkey because I wasn't addicted. And I made sure that I only gained 20 pounds. I made sure that I didn't eat too many burgers. I really had a healthy pregnancy. And so it matters when people in your life that care about you and care about your unborn child and care about their seed. They're going to be around to help you, support you, monitor you, and keep you in a good environment doing the good things so that a healthy baby comes out. Yeah, depression is a good one. Depression is a good one. So let's finish.
So, what has been your perspective on that one? And I know that's kind of strange. You probably don't get that question all the time, but what do you think on that one?
Well, as far as that is concerned, like I said earlier, a lot of women with a lot of emotional trauma. A lot of women are just flat out damaged. They're going through a lot. And so I've noticed that a lot of them try to, excuse me, get through and cope with what they're going through by drinking. And a lot of them also, Marquette, don't know who they are outside of being drunk or being intoxicated. They really don't have a lot to offer outside of that. And so they feel like by engaging in alcohol and partying and turning up, that it kind of camouflages the fact that they really don't have anything of substance or value to offer.
Okay, now this, that statement, that is a manosphere talking point. But let me tell you why this does not apply to women, what she just said. That applies to men. Because when you think in terms of the pimping, right? The pimping can take a broad that is a one, and he can at least turn her into a five, right? When you think in terms of a woman in a home, she can cook, she can clean, she can do laundry, she can take care of the kids, and she can do all that while she thugging, right? But when I say this pertains to the man, it's because the man is drinking because he has nothing to offer. See, it's easier to take a broad that's a one and turn her into a five, but it's nearly impossible to take a man from broke to a house, a job, a car, good credit, a bank account. You understand what I'm saying? So they're more so drinking to camouflage the fact that they have nothing to offer. It's like, oh, well, shorty, I stay thugging. Sometimes people will be like, why you always drinking? Why while he's sitting in her house on her couch, you know, probably even drinking alcohol that she provided, he is camouflaging the fact that he doesn't have anything to offer. So instead of him, running his life in an appropriate manner, he is drinking because he is making an excuse, calling himself the party boy instead of handling business so that he has something to offer. And I'm telling you, I don't know how old this chick is, but I probably beat her in age, so I beat her in experience, and I've been around, a few states, and I've been in the hood my entire life. I've seen it, I've lived it, I've done it, right? So that is more so for a man. You always see him drunk. You always see him with a bottle in his hand. It's more so him camouflaging the fact that he has nothing to offer. A woman always has something to offer. A lot of times, these men, they like women that don't have a car, so they can tote them around and know their whereabouts. You understand what I'm saying? So it's more so the man that is camouflaging the fact that he has nothing to offer, and he's making excuses as to why he doesn't have anything to offer. So that point right there, I was like, no, that does not apply to women. That applies to men. Men are supposed to be uh, holding their own, and basically financially providing for themselves. Have their car, have their job, their apartment, if not, at least if not a house. So no, that does not apply to women. Like I said, you can take a one and turn her into a five.
I would rather just come off as the fun party girl. That way I can distract you from the fact that I really don't, have a lot to offer you as a woman. And
And see, this term, what do you bring to the table as a woman? What do you have to offer as a woman? It's so stupid to me. It's so stupid to me because a woman is always going to cook and clean. She always going to do laundry. You understand what I'm saying? She going to work a job. She's gonna, a lot of the majority of women, a lot of them have cars, or what I'm saying, they have the finances to get around if they got to Uber it or if they got to take a bus. So it's more so, hey, I'm a woman and I can do all these things for myself. So no, dude, what are you bringing to the table? Right? So if you want to be the man in this relationship, it's not what the woman is bringing to the table, because we already know cooking, cleaning, you know what I'm saying? Even though the man can do this for himself, he don't want to do it. Right. I had an associate. I was like, hey, come in here Monday morning. I just got off work. I got a few hours sleep, woke up, went to go take care of a little bit of business. And, I was like, hey, come in here and help me clean up. He was like, I just got off of work. I was like, well, I just got off of work too. And he was like, well, what that mean? It means I'm just as tired as you. But the point is that he had just gotten off of work, so he didn't want to do any housework, right? So what he's saying is, that is not what I'm bringing to the table, ma'am. That is what you are supposed to be bringing to the table. So a man is not bringing housekeeping, he's not bringing laundry, he's not bringing cooking, he's not bringing any of those things that is considered a woman's work to the table. So therefore, it is already it is already spelled out what a woman is bringing to the table, which is her domestic skills. Now for the man, what he has to bring to the table is he has to bring the finances to the table. If he is a competent man, he will have a home, whether it be apartment or a house, to bring that woman to, so that she can bring all her skills to the table, right? So we just kind of got it, kind of, a little, y'all starting to sound a little bit stupid. And I'm constantly hearing, what do you bring to the table as a woman? Dude, if you got to ask that, then you need to go back and talk to your mama. We don't have time for that. And if you don't know what it is you're supposed to be bringing to the table as a man, then I don't know, you might need to talk to your daddy too. So you need to move back home. Here we go.
I believe a lot of us do try to drown out a lot of the trauma and a lot of the lack that we have by partaking in a lot of these things, such as drinking, partying, smoking, reckless behaviors, like even being overly promiscuous, like all of that. We're using those things as an escape, or as a tool, if you will, to kind of cover up what we're going through or what we lack as a woman.
Ooh, we see.
Okay, so that was that. Now let me start by saying, got my notes here. Let me start by saying, and I'm gonna be giving you some a few personal experience, if have you. Um, Number one, when you consider the age at which women start drinking, it's usually in their late teenage years. I'm talking maybe 16, 17, 18, 19, right? And or it's in their beginning in early 20s, right? And one of the reasons this is because a lot of times they're dating an older man. And really, he can't do nothing with this underage girl but screw her, right? So, in order, like Marquez said, some men give women alcohol to break down their defenses, right? So, usually, a lot of times when women have started to drink this early, it's number one, she was dating an older man that gave her the alcohol, right? And then from that point on, she continued to date older men, and that is what they continue to give her, which is alcohol, right? Or number two, it was social drinking with friends, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20s. In their 20s, they got a bunch of friends that like to hang out and get drunk and have fun because they don't have anything else in life to do. They don't have to work, they don't have to pay any bills, they don't drive, different things of that nature. So it's easier for them to pick up a drink and have some fun and use it just for fun, right? Now, when we when we talk about drinking alcohol to run from our problems, usually if a young woman is drinking alcohol, I will agree with the young lady on the podcast or on the interview. A lot of women are drinking their traumas away, right? But they are also, it's become habitual. It's become habitual drinking because of the males they decide to date and that latch on to them because of their youth. So it's not just that, oh my God, I got so many traumas in my life that I need to drink alcohol, because I promise you, I have a whole lot of traumas in my life and I'm just not prone to becoming an alcoholic. Now, I can throw a few back. You understand what I'm saying? But that is not something that um, relieves any pain or any trauma or anything that I have experienced in the past. And I'm sure there's a lot of people, a lot of women that will say, no, alcohol just don't do it. Now, a lot of times when you see women that have a lot of girlfriends, which I don't do friends. I hear a lot, people say, "Oh, you can tell a woman by the friends she keeps," and then you can. A lot of them say, "Oh, well, if she don't have any girlfriends, that's a red flag." And no, that's a green flag, because it means that she doesn't have a bunch of women or even one woman that she's hanging around that influences her, because friends influence each other. So that's not a red flag for me. That's a green flag, because I always say, I have children. So what do I need a girlfriend for when I have my own home? I got my own dishes to wash. I got my own clothes to wash. I have my own kids to feed. I have my own kids to get ready for school and things of that nature, get ready for life. So why would I spend my precious time just hanging around a female or a bunch of females consistently on a daily basis? That's not womanhood, that's girlhood. Girls do that. Girls with no responsibility have multitude of friends or a BFF that they hang around with because they have nothing else in life to do. Well, I don't know about you, but my time is important, my kids are important, and the things that I need to do or don't want to do are important. So having friends, not having friends, is not a red flag. That's a green flag, because it means that the woman can act independently. She has her own mind. And like I said, she's not being influenced by other women who have bad behavior and who do drink alcohol, because there's a lot of them out there, right? Now, here's another thing: a lot of women drink because they're lonely, right? You're lonely. So, what's a good thing to do in order to entertain yourself, right? You come home every day after work, you pop that bottle of wine, you relax in front of your, maybe your soft music or your lonely sounding music, and you relax yourself. I remember there was a time when I was in my, I want to say I had to be 24. Just got my LPN when I was 20, 22, right? A couple of years in. So work was so stressful for me. It wasn't that I was lonely. Well, that too, I was lonely. I'm just going to put it out there. I was lonely. But work was so stressful because I didn't have a clear direction and a clear concept of nursing, that it was so stressful to me that I would come home and I would have a glass of Alizé every day, right? But as I grew and as my comprehension grew, I cut it out. I found it wasn't necessary. Another reason that women drink is because their men are gone. So you will have a woman that doesn't drink at all. She's living a thug life with her dude. You know what I'm saying? She don't really drink. She's the submissive type. She's, catering to her thug life dude. And what happens? He ends up going to jail. So what she does is sometimes she'll take on his behaviors because she misses him. I, listen, ask the ladies in the hood. Ask him in the hood. Another thing is, we seem to forget that our older women used to be younger women, right? They used to be younger party girls. And they, instead of cutting those behaviors out when they reached their full womanhood, they brought those party behaviors with them, right? Another reason that women drink and drink too much is because they party too much. And what goes along with partying? Music, loud music, sometimes that thug music, sometimes that sensual music. And, when they go out, what does alcohol do? It changes your personality, it loosens you up, it gets you out there on a dance floor. You know what I'm saying? It makes you feel like, you're a part of the crowd. And that type of environment and that type of stuff is intoxicating in itself. So you're in an environment and you're seeing everyone else, they're drinking, the women are drinking, the men are drinking, they're drinking and they're mingling, right? And that becomes intoxicating. It becomes fun, and they want to keep it up, right? Another reason is that some women, or a lot of women, their house is the party house. right? So that means every day, maybe she gets off at 3. Her friends are getting off between the hours of 3 and 5. She's home, and what happens around 7 p.m.? Her door, people start knocking on her door, ringing her doorbell because she has the kicking spot, right? A lot of times you have women that don't work. Maybe they're on Section 8, maybe they're living with a man, or whatever have you, and their spot is just the party spot. So what happens around 12 noon, 1 o'clock? The people start trickling in with their drinks. They drink, so they got drinks, and everybody's just drinking, and it's just a consistent amount of drinking. So the point I'm leading to is that not every woman is drinking because she's running from some childhood trauma, or she's running from some trauma, or she's drinking to camouflage the fact that she doesn't have anything to offer. Don't do that. Don't say that. Because if I'm out and I'm having a drink, I don't want people looking at me like, oh my gosh, she's drinking because she's running from some childhood trauma. That's hogwash. It stereotypes black women. It makes all of us look like we've experienced some childhood trauma because we decide we want to socially drink, or because we want to come home every night and have a glass of wine or a glass of Alizé and relax by the damn fireplace or under the air AC and watch Maury Povich. Don't do that. Right. So this is why I say it's a manosphere talking point, because it makes black women look bad. And what does the manosphere hate? They hate independent black women who can make competent decisions for themselves without their presence. Right. So I think it's a bunch of hogwash. And Keyshawn Wilson, depression is sometimes a big factor, right? But what is depression? Depression is feelings of loneliness, right? Depression is feelings of inadequacy. Depression is loss. Depression is grief, all those things. And so, yes, some people do pacify themselves or soothe themselves with alcohol. But my number one beef is that, don't say it's because anxiety. There you go. There you go. I mean, I'm treating these things, or these things are getting treated in my workplace on a consistent basis. We have people come in with ETOH, and I know the different medications and vitamins that they need in order to help them, overcome that abuse, or regulate it, or prevent them from having suffering those side effects and those withdrawal symptoms. So, I just really, we need to stop the stereotypes. And I want to say this, you know, we should stick to topics that we are studied on and that we have experience on. And I lean more towards experience, because a book can tell you anything it wants. People can tweak statistics, right? I lean more towards the experience side. Like, what have you experienced? Have you experienced these things coming from these different people in your life? What have you seen? Right? And what have you done? And how did you overcome it? Um, Another thing I want to say, as far as why women are alcoholics, or they can't overcome the habit, is because they don't know how. You see, we are under the impression that high school is actually teaching us something. High school is teaching the basics of math, English, science, history, yada, 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 yada. High school in no way teaches you how to cope with and overcome substance abuse, right? Now, when you seek a higher education, can't be drunk. That's a barrier, or that's a, how can I say, that's something that will stop you from drinking, right? Um, a lot of times when you are seeking that or when you're indulging or when you're getting that higher education, you are in a position to where you're going to have to help people, so you have to learn how to help people, and in learning how to help people you learn how to help yourself. So I'm a firm believer that once you learn how to overcome grief, how to overcome loss, how to overcome addiction, if you are suffering from any of those problems, you would test those processes on yourself first to see if they work. So there's different things you learn in school that you can do to help other people that you can also use to help yourself. Because remember, you have to help yourself before you can help anyone else, right? Um, don't say because we have a cocktail, we have trauma. That's right. Don't say because we have a cocktail, we have trauma. Don't say because, you've been working 40 hours a week or 80 hours a week or 100 hours a week on a project that you needed to get done, and you've been working on it for 2 months. It's finally done. And now you want to go out and just, whew, let me have a drink, right? Don't say it's because I have trauma. Say it's because I'm rewarding myself or I'm relaxing myself from a hard 2 months of work, right? So it makes Black women look bad. It makes us look like we don't have any type of control over our lives just because somebody sees us having a couple of drinks, right? So you're basically judging a book by its cover that you may only see once. You may only see that person once in your life, but what do you take away, from that situation, or from what you saw with that woman having a couple of drinks? You're taking away from it that, oh my gosh, she's just, look at this Black woman, she's drinking because she has trauma. You know, if you're gonna talk about it, talk about all of it. Don't just talk about one aspect of it, because we don't have a lot of thinkers in the world. We don't have a lot of people, a lot of unbiased people in the world. We don't have a lot of people in the world that have experienced a lot, right? So we always have to remember that just because we're nestled in our warm, safe environment with our man, you understand what I'm saying, that we get to now turn around and make judgment upon everybody else, or place a stereotype on everybody else. You're so on point. I learned so much about myself and my personal family dynamics from working with the families I serve. Yes, yep, as a QMHP and in home therapist. That is so true. These things, you're learning, how to help other people when you can take those same processes and help your damn self, right? And that makes you, that gives you the ability to help people even more because you've tried it on yourself. So it's the truth. It can be done. It can be accomplished. So, yeah, that was, just my take on that. I really want, you would really have to get to know a person to understand and gain some insight on why they're behaving the way they are, because drinking is a behavior. And I bet you, a lot of people don't know this fact, or maybe they do, but if you have, sometimes alcohol, how do I want to say this? I want to say this in layman's terms. Alcohol can be hereditary. Alcoholism can be hereditary, which means that if your mom and your dad drank, some one if they have two kids, one out of those two kids will become an alcoholic, right? I've learned that. So we have to understand that childhood trauma, even depression, even grief, and all those things, sometimes they don't even play a role in why a person is an alcoholic. It is because it's hereditary. So um, be careful. Be careful what you're doing. Like I said, Black women, we already have so many different stereotypes on us that we get treated in the most disgusting way. I wanted to add this before I go, because I wasn't intending on staying here that long. I got a lot of things that I need to do. But on the Indisputable, on that show, I tune into that every now and again. So they did a study, or they did a test of a black girl and a white girl, a little black girl and a little white girl. So they did the little black girl first. They put her alone in an area where there were a lot of people, walking back and forth. I don't know where it was, but they sat the little black girl, they stood her there by herself, and they watched people walk by her, and nobody came up to her and asked her, why was she alone? Where's your parents? How did you get here? Are you okay? Do you need some help? This, that, and the third. Nobody came to the little girl's aid. But then when they put a little white girl alone in the same spot, everybody and their mama approached this little girl, this little white girl. And I bet you the questions were, why are you here? How did you get here? Do you need some help? Where's your parents? Are you hurt? Did anybody do anything with you? Where do you live? Is somebody coming to pick you up? What are you doing out here by yourself? They were probably asking all those questions, right? So, and then here's the point I wanted to make about that. Now, it could have just been the type of people that were out while the little black girl was there. And then it could have just been the type of people that was out when the little white girl was there. But, I'm giving that, I'm going to go 90-10 on that, right? 10% it was because of the type of people that was walking by, and 80% that they didn't give a goddamn about the little black girl. So I'm saying this to say that even as little black girls, people already don't give a damn about us. And at the end of the day, do you think that just because you're a part of the black manosphere, when you're out in public by yourself or even with your man, don't you think that people are looking at you like a disgusting black woman because of how we talk about black women so bad, how we don't give them the benefit of the doubt, how we describe them as dirtbags, the most disgusting women on the planet? They're ugly, they're this, they're that, you know what I'm saying? They're fat, they're black, they got 600 kids, 10,000 baby daddies, all those things. As black women, it does not matter. You can be driving a Porsche. You can be living in a mansion. You can have on the most designer clothes and carrying the designer purses and the designer eyeglasses, and you can have diamonds in your ears big as Saturn. But at the end of the day, all they're seeing is a black woman who nobody seems to like. So these black women in the manosphere, they're doing themselves a disservice. Even the black Muslim women who wear the hijab or the hairdress, all they have sayings for those black women. They say the religious girls are the biggest freaks, right? They have to live with that stereotype. So every time you see a black woman holding a Bible, they like, I know she a freak. So see what we've done, right? See what we've done, and what we've allowed people to do to us. So I say, clap back. You always have to clap back. When we got these videos and these podcasters and these YouTubers on here talking so bad about black women, put it in perspective. Put it in perspective so that people can get it in their head that not all black women carry themselves like that. Not all black women in the hood are hood chicks. Not all black women that live in the hood are promiscuous. Not all black women that live in the hood are unmarried. Not all black women that live in the hood are alcoholics. Not all black women that live in the hood are just disgusting creatures. Come on. right? It's not giving us a fair chance, because what they don't understand is that while they're sitting at home cashing in on their super chats, their PayPals, and their Cash Apps, and not having to actually get out here in the workforce and compete and be treated a certain way, we are. Those of us, we have to. Married ones, single ones, lesbian ones, I don't know, dyke ones, whatever the case may be, as Black women, we are all suffering because of YouTube and what these manosphere women uh, choose to say about us, or how they choose to describe us and depict us. Speak it, speak it like you are not under protection from these manosphere cans. Look how they upgrade pearly things. Well, one of the things I want to say is that YouTube is entertainment, right? Just like rap music is supposed to be entertainment. But what do people do when they hear rap music and when they look at certain types of entertainment? They tend to emulate it, or they tend to get a bad view of all Black people. Like, oh my God, you see that guy over there, he's sagging his pants, I bet he's a thug. And it just he's sagging his pants because it's like being an alcoholic. He's addicted. You become addicted, just like people that carry designer purses. You can't see them without a designer purse. No other purse is any good for them if it's not designer. That is because they're addicted to designer brands. So we all have addictions that are detrimental, or that could be detrimental to our lives. So we can't just say, oh, alcoholic women are the worst women, or they're running from childhood trauma. Your Louis Vuitton addiction, your Gucci, your Prada, all your designer shit could be you. That could be you running from childhood trauma. And the childhood trauma could be that you were a bum. You understand what I'm saying? This is how we describe, um, young people that don't have as much as the middle class or the rich kid. You describe them as bums. What do you say? What are those? Talking about their shoes, or oh my God, look at her. She got a hole in her shirt, or look at him. Them jeans, he been wearing them same jeans for the last week. So when they grow up and they better themselves and they get the finances, what do? I ain't getting none but designer stuff. All my stuff got to be new. All my stuff, because they're running from childhood trauma, right? So we can attribute any habitual behaviors that are detrimental to our lives, we can attribute it to childhood trauma. But do we want to do that? Is it right to do that? Right? If we said it like that about, having a designer habit, that they're doing it because of some childhood trauma, it could be that no, they were rich when they were kids, and that's all they know is designer clothes. So if we're thinking that, oh, they got some childhood trauma because they're wearing designer clothes, they don't get their credit, or their mother and father don't get their credit for keeping them in designer clothes, right? So we got to be careful, and then of course, these manosphere geeks and manosphere, I'm gonna call them manosphere thoughts and fakers. They um they don't care, because at the end of the day, they just want those cash apps, to mount up. They want those super chats to mount up. It's a it's a love of money. Have you? You know, it's a love of money. Like, I don't care how I destroy Black people, because I'm getting my money. I need my money. I can't save, the Black community. So if I can't save them, well, I might as well help destroy them. And that's what they're actually doing. They're helping to destroy the Black community. I'll tell you this, I love Black people, male and female. When you come down off your high horse, or if you refuse to ever get on one. But let's first talk about coming down from the high horse. Sometimes you have to think back to when you had nothing, right? Because when we think back to when we had nothing, that's when we stay and become emotionally intelligent, right? You don't have to feel sorry for every Black person in the world, right? You don't have to degrade and talk about every Black person in the world or the Black people in the world who aren't doing as good as you. You know, you have to maintain some emotional intelligence and say, hey, you know, the reality of the situation is the reality of the situation. I don't even need to go into it because that would be a whole another long, 200,000 hour live, right? But, those who choose not to get on the high horse, they choose to be emotionally intelligent when it comes to, Black people. They choose to stay in reality and not judge, right? Those are the people like me, right? So I can look at what I've done in my life and what I've been through in my life, and it keeps me emotionally intelligent about some people. Now. Sometimes when I talk to Black people, I'm just like, you have poured nothing into yourself. Because there is, on the other hand, you have to pour into yourself, right? You have to seek out education, you have to seek out truth, you have to seek out understanding, you have to seek out self-care, you have to seek out things that you can pour into yourself to, I mean, at least put you, you know, two notches up, right? Don't just sit around and stay at ground zero, right? That's education wise, financially, different things like that. You have to pour something into yourself. You can't just do nothing and not give it a try and not make excuses and want people to feel sorry for you, because feeling sorry for somebody is not emotionally intelligent. That is what I mean, I would really call simping. That's simping, feeling sorry for a person that is not lifting a finger to do anything for themselves, and but yet and still they want the masses to pour into them, right? So I mean, that was just my take on that. I really you know in many aspects disagreed with what the young lady was saying, because she only gave one perspective and she attributed it to trauma, right? So that is why, there's books on it, that there's books out here for everything. So if you really want to help yourself, there's all kind of self-help materials, all kind of self-help videos, all kind of people that will help you. But you have to be willing to take that first step and help yourself. So anyway, that was just my take on that. That was my story and I'm sticking to it. There are many different reasons. Oh, let me say this. This is another thing I wanted to mention. So there was a movie I watched many years ago. I want to say like maybe 5 years ago. It was a Black movie. I want to try to find it. But there was the Black man, right? He did drugs. I think he sold drugs. And what he would do is he would find women that were clean and sober. He would get them hooked on drugs, and then he would leave them and move on to the next woman. So this was his goal and his purpose, to find women that didn't do drugs, young girls and women that didn't do drugs, get them hooked on drugs, and then leave them with the drug habit. And this was a whole movie. This was his purpose. This turned him on. This I don't know, brightened his life, to go around destroying women's lives. And a person told me one day, and I won't forget it, men bring you drugs. And if that is not the honest God to God truth. So see, we be handed down to account to that, then left her, right? So yeah, a lot of times when you see a woman that's on alcohol and doing drugs, she usually picked it up from a man. So anyway, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I'm gonna go ahead and end this live here so I can get busy doing what I need to do. Thank you guys for tuning in. Keyshawn Wilson, thank you so much for participating. I appreciate you very, very much. And feel free to leave your comments in the comment section, and have a good evening, day, night, morning, opportunity to watch this live. Thank you so much, and goodbye.